Hey everybody, welcome back to Gray Area. My name's Alex, and today we have techno DJ producer and label owner Juliet Fox, who has releases on Drumcode, Needed Pains, and her own Tregamba label. She's had a massive return to touring this year, touching down worldwide from Dubai to Ibiza at festivals like Tomorrowland, Cross, Love Parade, and club gigs at Fabric Club Space, Watergate, and she'll be with us on November 25th at Superior Ingredients in Brooklyn. Welcome, Juliet. How are
Thank
you?
you. That was a very grand welcome and entrance. So I'm really good. Thank you.
Well, you've been busy. You've been really busy since we last spoke. I mean, it was still a bit pandemic-y when we last spoke, so things were shaky. And I know like having travel back in your life is definitely something you thrive on.
Yeah,
Um,
no,
and
definitely.
how has it been for the last year, getting back into traveling and working out at gigs again?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't realize how much I missed. I mean, not just the traveling part, but it's mostly going and connecting like with people all across the world. I must have been lacking that a lot, you know. And as much as we could, like, on the phone or Zoom or something like that, yeah, it's been super important. It's been like an amazing journey. Like it went from even the start of the year not being so sure of like where things were headed. I went back to Australia like in January actually to
Right.
spend time with my family, and that was the first time after 2 years. And then suddenly, like we just got news that stuff started to open up, and I got to do like a couple of shows while I was in Australia, which was great.
Nice.
And then it just started to like, yeah, to boom, which was amazing.
And you've had some like really like huge landmark gigs for yourself over the last few months. You
I
played for
know.
Drumcode at Tomorrowland. You played at Cross. You fucking played at the first Love Parade in like
I
God
know.
knows how many years. You played at Glasso.
Yeah.
You came out
Well,
of the
that's,
pandemic like
yeah.
swinging. How is it to like come out of being gone for so long and be able to play at such like these are not small gigs, these are huge. Like
No,
how does it
I'm
feel to be like being able to spread your
incredible.
music to these massive audiences now?
Really, really like amazing actually, because yeah, like what you said, it's going from not just getting back into the swing of things, not just being touring and having shows. It's like having these like like kind of major events happening. It's been really, really good to for myself, I think, to get back in and to build up the confidence, and also to be able to see like the reaction from people, and also to interact again with like crowds and energy, which has been, yeah, like superb.
Yeah, and it must be great to be able to test out like all of this music that you have sitting around on a room full of people and really see how that these beats like impact everybody.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, and that was one thing I think which was lacking, like not just for myself, but a lot of producers, because you're making all this music and you're like, I think it sounds great, but then when you actually were playing it out on the dance floor, it was completely different. I mean, part of the reason when I launched my label in lockdown, Trigambi, was really cool to be able to do so, because it was like stuff which I was more, experimental with. It was more emotional, like perhaps more stuff that you would just sit and listen to than playing. I mean, they still fit on the dance floor, and now I'm really like getting stuck into like more like your big festival kind of tracks, and like the big club room like music as well, which is really exciting, and to see people reacting.
I've noticed that you're like, especially like in techno right now, everybody's kind of pushing the tempo. It's kind of like a return to the late 90s where people, you've even said you started at 140 at a gig, which
Yeah,
which like blows my mind.
I know. Like in certain cities, that's like no problem at all. Like I played in Copenhagen, and that's actually one of the shows that I was like straight in 140, could push up like even to 145. And I mean, I quite like it because I'm energetic behind, the decks when I'm performing. I also like sometimes solo, but it's really fun to like to go hard and fast.
I love that. And I want to talk about your music for a second because you kind of mentioned that during the pandemic you were doing stuff that was a little bit more chill, a little bit
Yeah.
more listenable, and now you're back into club music. But what
Yeah.
I've noticed that's always been like a factor in your music is like messaging.
Yeah.
And I know you're like into yoga, and I know you're into there's like a very spiritual side to you, and that comes across in your vocals and a lot of like the stories behind your music. And every time you have a release, there's always like a short story that goes with it. And I find that really interesting because storytelling in dance music is
Doesn't
often,
much.
it doesn't exist. I mean, people just throw a booty shaking vocal over something and call it a day. Um,
It's
so
actually incredible to know that you find that, or you've been able to like see that in my music, because I don't really hear that from many people at all, but it is something that I'm always trying to do, and like, yeah, and to put like a message in. Yeah.
why is that so important to you?
I mean, I don't think I do it intentionally. Like it does just come like naturally, and in whatever moment I'm at, perhaps when I'm making the music or making the track. And it always, I build it around the vocals. It's very rarely would I build a track. And if I didn't have vocals in it, I probably wouldn't really add it. Sometimes, very rarely I have.
Yeah.
But it just seems to harmonize with, the track that I'm building, and it creates like the melody in itself. um some of my friends, like one of my good friends, she's from Germany and her English is perfect, but she still is always like, I can't quite understand, she hears like a few words, and I'm like, that's kind of the point. And if you can, maybe you've listened to it enough times.
You got to decipher it a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. Or maybe just keywords that you want to hear.
Yeah, absolutely. I just
Yeah,
I just love that whole idea that, I mean, one, that you're using your own vocals, but also that, when you're building something around vocals, there's like some real power, even more power behind the music,
yeah,
because there is some messaging, even if people don't always get it. Maybe it's getting in there subconsciously, and maybe like hearing some keywords on the dance floor to like hone your dance into is
yeah.
kind of important.
Definitely, I think so. And like you said, it's not just putting, I mean, sometimes that works, is just like I mean I do cheesy vocals, like say the cheesy like kind of catchphrase or something like that. And that's usually what like works for people to remember it. But I think it's like, for me, as I said, it's more important to have like something that's a bit more impacting, or the keywords that mean something to me, I guess, at the time, and hopefully other people.
Absolutely. I really want to like hone in on this love parade thing. One, for personal reasons, we had a love parade in San Francisco for several years. That was like an official love parade, and that was always like that was like a huge part of my development as a DJ and a dancer and like a raver. But
Yeah,
you got to play at the first love parade in several years, and not only that, you played right after Dr. Mote spoke. So
yeah.
you really like kick things off. What's it like to be such a pivotal part of rave history?
I mean, I didn't actually realize it until the end of the day that like, I mean, it kind of sunk in that I was on like the first float, Dr. Motte's float, the first DJ like to perform, and and playing the first track. So afterwards I was like, wow, like, I mean, it gives me goosebumps, honestly, talking about it now, just to be asked to be in that position to do it, to be, yeah, basically exactly making history. Like, it feels incredible. Like, I mean, I mean, I'm still buzzing about it. I mean, it's just, yeah, amazing. And watching the videos back, and and seeing everything on YouTube, it's just, yeah. I don't think it will even sink in until maybe years to come. you know.
That's always going to be something people call back to, though. That's part of your resume now.
I know. And also the amazing part was playing on that float. And then because there was a problem with some flights, and some guys that were playing on a float from England, it came over, it was called SOS, like they'd asked me to come and jump on and perform as well. And it just happened to be like this pivotal moment where like we're turning, where they had like the Brandenburg Gates, and I played like this old rave track from Mark Broom. And like, wow, the crowd, like, again, like, it just makes me like just smile so much of the reaction. And yeah, this video then went even naturally viral, which was crazy to see how much people connected with this track, and it brought back so many memories. Yeah.
And in a year where everybody's like just getting back into the party scene too, it just,
Yeah.
that's so amazing. Not just a congratulations for you, but like I'm getting chills hearing about it. But like, from
Yeah.
everybody in the scene, thank you for like providing such a great moment for us to watch
Thank
Love
you.
Parade like come back in with.
No, I mean, it's really, really, really special. And but like I said, mostly just to see how everybody like was connecting, you know, like at all ages, you know, nationalities, like sexual identities, whatever, like everybody was there like for the one reason, and that was like to be there for the music and to just like enjoy themselves.
I
Yeah.
love it.
About the
Um,
love, obviously. Love and the music.
yeah, I love it. That's so I mean my inner raver is like coming out right
Yeah,
now,
I know. That's what it comes back from me. I'm like, yeah, from all those years ago.
right?
Yeah.
I want to talk about something else really cool. You've done a lot of really cool shit in the last year, but one of the coolest things was cycling from London to ADE for charity.
Yeah.
One, how does something like this even come about? But two, I also want to hear about like the charity that you're working for. This is just such an not just an amazing thing for a DJ to do, but for anybody to do, and to, you know, not just for fitness, but for charity. And you know, it's amazing. How did this happen?
Well, it's well, the charity is called Bridges for Music, and they are a non-profit organization that had built a school in Lanya, which is in South Africa, like outside of Cape Town, and basically built this a music center, creative center where yeah, underprivileged children can go there, either learn an instrument, mostly music production, DJing, singers, and there was about 4 years ago. Actually, it was 4 years ago that I'd gone and attended Africa Burn myself, and that's where
Yeah.
I met some of the guys involved with it. And then they were like, "Hey, we're doing this cycling." So I did it back 4 years ago, and then they were like, "Come on, do you want to do it again?" It's the first year back after COVID, and I was like, "Oh, my summer's been pretty like tough on the body." I wasn't really that fit, to be honest, even though I tried to maintain. And I was like, "This is going to be like number one, a great like challenge for myself, but mostly like to be able to put something back, you know, and to a place that's also very like special for me. You know, I've been, you know, to South Africa 4 times, and yeah, it's just incredible, like to be able to go there and to yeah, to be able to provide something and to keep like this school basically like moving and monetized, you know. Yeah, it's
Well,
really
I
great.
mean, I love to see things like this because it's more than just about like you see there's so much like partying and DJ gigs and all of this stuff on the timeline, but to see something that's impactful in another way and also impactful for a really disadvantaged community is just kind of amazing to see people do. And it's you're providing a great example of how music can not just like be a great release, but it can also be healing and educating for people.
Definitely. And yeah, no, it was just so nice to be a part of it, because when I had done it 4 years ago, there was only around 10 of us. This time there was 24. And, you know, from all different parts of the music industry, you know, like people working, there was a few other DJs, but like in label or management or for other brands as well. And it was like all of us had come together, and all different levels of experience as well. So we would all work as a team, you know, and yeah, we made it there in one go.
And
Fortunately,
forgive my geographical ignorance, but there is a channel in between London and France. How does this work logistically? And like how long did it actually take you to get from one place to the other?
so it was a 4 day cycle. We started on a Sunday morning, and the day or the night before, I just flown back from Dubai as well. I had a show on the Friday, so I was
You're
like,
brave.
so we had to start at like 7 in the morning on the Sunday. And the Sunday was actually the hardest, the first day, and that was cycling all through from London through like the city, which was incredible, like to see like actually like the sun rising over London. And then we went down to Dover, which is where
Yeah.
you carry across. Yeah, and then we caught that, and that was also really cool to go and like everyone's cycling onto it. Like, yeah, it was a really nice experience. And then we traveled through like a very short part through France, and then went straight into Holland, and
Yeah.
then with the rest of the time. So yeah, for the other 2 days. Yeah, well,
That's
4 days in total.
how awesome.
Yeah, really,
And
really cool. It was definitely quite challenging, I must say.
how were you feeling? So you went from a gig in Dubai
Yeah,
to a 4 day cycle that was several hundred miles
yeah.
to ADE, which we all know is
Well, we
like
know it's
is
like,
the
yeah.
Amsterdam equivalent of Miami Music Week, which is really hard in a multitude of ways. How did you feel after that? Did you sleep for a week or did
I mean, surprisingly not, but the first night I definitely like wasn't quite myself, and I just went along. Actually, it was the Eric Prince show, so I went along to see like his show on the first night, but I didn't drink, so it was good. And then I woke up for the first time fresh in Amsterdam, and then got stuck into it. But then I had a show in Amsterdam at Werknip, and then that was on the Friday. And then on the Saturday, I was playing at Fabric in London. So that was also a fun night. So I finally rested from Sunday night.
I love it. Also, sorry, I need to catch myself for a second. Oh, that's what I wanted to talk about. You going back to Australia. How special to be back in Australia twice in 1 year after not being there for 2 years, not just because you got to see your family, which is beautiful, but also because you got to tour a little bit while you were there. How did it feel to be able to share your music again with the country, with your country?
It was so nice. Yeah, it was really, really special. I think I started crying on the plane already just when I heard like Australian accents, and I was like, oh my God, like, you know. And then, yeah, especially because I was a little bit sad because I thought, oh, I'm not going to be able to perform. And then when like the rules got dropped like on the
Yeah.
last weekend, and like they did two like last minute shows, yeah, it was really amazing to see. I mean, I know Australia was doing really well at the beginning of the year. They have been struggling a little bit now, which is like, you know, it's hard to see, but it's great because a lot of international artists have been going and supporting, you know, and they're constantly got people going over and touring, which is really good like to see.
Yeah. And I know part of the reason you moved previously was because you felt like you you couldn't play the music that you loved there. It wasn't like necessarily in vogue, but things have changed a lot in dance music worldwide since then. It's opened up a lot. Um, I feel
So,
like DJs can really feel empowered to play whatever they want where they are, because the worldwide dance music audience is just so much more open to everything now. So how did it feel to like return to Australia and say, this is who I am, and now I can play whatever the fuck I want and it's cool?
it felt really good actually, especially coming out of COVID times, you know. I was really proud to see Australia like, yeah, that the level, sorry, I should be saying, like with techno especially. And again, like seeing the artists that are coming and seeing the music that they're playing there, it's like it's really exciting actually.
I
Really
love
fun.
it. I love it.
Yeah.
And I always end on this question, and I know I asked you this last year, but things have changed so much that
Yeah.
the answer is going to change. So, and I always love this question: what excites you about the future of dance music?
um, what excites me actually is to see like, you know, that there is change and things are progressing. I think it's like just keeps everybody like on their toes a little bit, you know, and it's definitely challenging, you know. um, I want to just see like, you know, maybe music doing, you know, a 360 as well. That's what I would love to see, not just like you said, like dropping in like, you know, on samples and something like that, but maybe reliving or bringing back like the sound but in unique ways. That would be cool, like the rave kind of sound, which is great.
Yes, no, I'm here for that.
Raves.
Yes,
Like, you know, illegal kind of raves, but legal.
yes, I love to hear it.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time out to speak to us today. It's always fabulous talking to you, and I am congratulations on all of this success. I've been following your career since well before I became a part of Gray Area for years now, and it's been amazing to watch this just upward progression in the last year. It's gone from this to this, which is
Amazing. That's what
amazing to see.
yeah, no, that I think is what keeps me like driving as well, and like to see that change like progressing constantly, you know, and it's like it keeps that little fire burning.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're excited to have you in New York.
Oh, I can't wait
Which
for it.
is, you know, which is going to be amazing. What's the best what's the thing you love most about New York?
Oh, I love New York City. Just the vibe and the energy, the people, the food, like, you know,
Yes.
the bars to go out to and that. And I've got some great friends there as well. Like it reminds me like a lot like Berlin and Melbourne, like as well. Like it's like combined all together. Yeah.
I love it. It feels almost like another, like your American home.
Yeah, plus and you know the parties that go on there, like people really love the music there. That's what I love about New York. Like
Yeah,
up
New York has good tastes.
yeah, exactly. Still, so I'm really excited. I really can't wait.
Well, we can't wait too. Thank you so much. And once again, thank you so much for taking the time out.
Thank you again, and we'll see you very soon.
Yes, awesome.